Hello everyone, this is Big O Statement and we are back again, and here now we have another fun and video debate for you, and here we'll look at who I deem are the hottest and sexiest women within the James Bond franchise. Now of course culturally we all recognise the Bond girls or the Bond women as the most stunningly attractive females, which is essentially why Bond gets with them in the first place. Now certainly the best Bond girls are the most iconic or the most standout, primarily because of their looks, but also because of their personality, the certain memorable scenes that they have throughout the films. So that's what will also be considered along with their attractiveness in terms of this overall breakdown. Which Bond women had the most screen impact in terms of the franchise's legacy? So of course within this list we will account for all of the films throughout the franchise, regardless of whether the actresses are still present or not, and of course we'll concentrate solely on who they are within the movies. As usual with this type of breakdown, it's all done in good taste, with all images are safe for work, so no worries there, and you can check out other breakdowns similar of this type within my channel. And if you have any other suggestions of breakdowns that you would like to see me do, then let me know within the comments. So here we go then with who I deem are the most attractive and hottest women within all of the James Bond franchise. And the first entry on this list we have Sophie Marceau as Elektra King from The World Is Not Enough. One of the main villains of the movie, Elektra works alongside Robert Carlyle's terrorist, and Sophie Marceau is so naturally gorgeous and beautiful, with her exotic looks and curvaceous figure and her French accent. This made her such an alluring and magnetic female presence throughout the film. Just in general, Sophie Marceau is a beautiful woman, as also seen in the likes of Braveheart from 1995, and her character here has a certain intense storyline, along with being very much of a more damaged and abused character, and she carries that vengefulness right throughout the movie. So for me, definitely one of the most attractive and beautiful women within the James Bond franchise, and one of the more complicated and certainly complex characters within all of the films overall. So a fine choice as Elektra King, played by Sophie Marceau, within this overall list. The next entry that we have within this breakdown is Famke Janssen as Zena Zonatov within GoldenEye in 1995. Without question, one of the more darker sexual females within the franchise. She's initially a member of the Janus crime syndicate and definitely has a certain distinctiveness as one of the villains throughout the franchise. With her Georgian accent and her tendency to use her sexuality all throughout the story, she had the very unique technique of killing her foes by crushing them with her legs, and this gave that instant dangerous femme fatale perspective about the character, known very much so by that infamous shower encounter between her and James Bond throughout the film. It's a very delicious performance by Famke Janssen, creating without doubt one of the most ruthless females within the franchise, and definitely one of the most sexiest and hottest female characters within all of the Bond films. So a very fine entry on this list as Famke Janssen as Zena Zonatov from GoldenEye. The next entry on this list is Denise Richards as Dr. Christmas Jones from The World Is Not Enough. As a seemingly implausible nuclear physicist, Dr. Christmas Jones, Denise Richards was definitely one of the more physically, athletically looking females, and without question has that bodacious body with her very long legs and great curves. And she's very more different here, as they went for a much more of a action heroine type of character in terms of her overall look. The Tomb Raider influences are all there to see, with her tight vest tops and her tight shorts and boots as well. Very on the nose and very obvious throughout. And regardless of whatever criticism that you have in terms of her role, you can't deny that Denise is super hot within this film. Great figure, beautiful face. So whether you like her or not as a character, you can't take your eyes off her on screen. And definitely more, I would say, of a blonde babe rather than a typically blonde woman. But despite all of that, she's still one of the hottest women within the franchise and a fine entry within this list. The next choice within this breakdown was without question one of the most iconic entries within all of the Bond franchise, and that is Ursula Andress as Honey Rider from Dr. No, way back in 1962. Without question one of the most referenced and memorable Bond women within all of the franchise. She of course was really the most first iteration indeed of the Bond girl. Her role here would be very much of the standard as what would typify the role as a Bond girl right throughout the franchise. The Swiss actress stepping out in her white bikini, carrying the shells, with her super toned athletic body, instantly becoming one of the most famous identifiable moments within all of the Bond franchise, really becoming the epitome of the Bond girl, as I mentioned before. So many fans deeming her primarily the best Bond girl, and perhaps not being the overall great acting performance or the great character, but no doubt about it, one of the most iconic females within all of the Bond films overall. So the next entry on this list, and that is Eva Green as Vesper Lynd from Casino Royale back in 2006. Probably one of the few Bond women who's part of a substantial arc. She also had much more of an emotional connection with Bond, forging a love story that we saw 3/4 of the way through Casino Royale, and Eva Green certainly leaves an impression, bringing her stunning sexual beauty to this character, and she's more than a match for Daniel Craig. Initially starting off as a British Treasury agent, we later on find out that she's got a duplicitous role. She betrays Bond to begin with, but later on we find out that she did so in order to protect him. We learn that she's part of the Quantum section, which is part of the Spectre section that we find out later on throughout the film. When we look at Eva Green in terms of her piercing looks and much more of a mature demeanour about her, she's without doubt one of the sexiest and stunning women within all of the franchise. So the next entry on this list might be one that many people will not agree with me in terms of her overall choice, and that is Tanya Roberts as Stacey Sutton from A View to a Kill back in 1985. As Stacey Sutton, the granddaughter of an oil tycoon company which has been taken over by the film's main villain, Max Zorin. For me, Tanya Roberts was simply one of the most naturally beautiful Bond girls. She wasn't quite as sexualised as the other female characters within the franchise, and I think a big reason for this was due to Roger Moore's age when playing this character in this role. He was around 57 years old at the time, unbelievably, and Tanya herself was barely only 30. So I think at this stage the producers are very wary of the age gap between the two. Stacey Sutton was much more of an innocent, sweet, endearing personality, and I think that's what allures me so much and attracts me to Tanya Roberts' role in terms of the overall character. She's very easy on the eye, very beautiful, very pretty. She's got those very bright blue eyes about her. Now sadly, of course, she passed away, the actual actress Tanya Roberts, a couple of years ago, but still, when looking back on this overall movie, no doubt about it, it was one of the most memorable appearances, and still for me one of the most attractive women within all of the Bond franchise. We now come on to the main runner-up on this list, and that is Halle Berry as Jinx from Die Another Day in 2002. Halle Berry at this stage of her career was not only one of the most hottest Bond women, but was primarily one of the most hottest actresses at that time, and she was really in the prime prolific stage of her acting career, following her role as Storm within the X-Men movies and also winning an Oscar for Monsters Ball as well. Halle Berry really seemed so primed for a Bond girl with her super shaped figure, her almost flawless skin tone and stunning looks. She utilised all of her attributes to full effect when she recreated Ursula Andress's iconic appearance from Dr. No. We all know very much so that memorable scene when she comes out of the sea, stepping out in an orange bikini, very similar fashion to how Ursula did in her overall appearance. And simply in this scene, Halle Berry is jaw-droppingly amazing here, fully celebrating at the time the 40th anniversary of the franchise, and Jinx herself was much more of an action heroine throughout this character, but still Jinx has very much of a confident, very fun, very light-hearted personality, and of course coupling that with Halle Berry's stunning figure, without question one of the most hottest and attractive Bond women within all of the franchise. And so we come to number one on this list, the Bond girl who I deem is the most hottest and most attractive within all of the franchise, and that is Honor Blackman as Pussy Galore from Goldfinger. Without question, the standout Bond woman, just on her name alone, which of course causes controversy and cheekiness, very iconic just on her name alone, and without question this is something that you couldn't get away with in these current PC sensitive times that we live in. Now many may ask why indeed is Pussy Galore at number one, as we don't really see her in any skin tight bikinis or sexual outfits, but that's the whole reason why she remains number one. That's the whole part of her attraction, was that she had a great figure but she never had to be sexualized in order to emphasize how hot she was. She very much had a commanding presence and very much stood on her own in terms of her position, in terms of her status. She was nowhere near the damsel in distress, and for the most part resisted Bond's advances. And I think when we get characters like that, it always makes them even more attractive. They're not just falling at Bond's feet. It's that classic case of the more unobtainable female that makes her even more worthy to chase. And I think that's one of the biggest concepts around Pussy Galore as a character. She just exuded so much class, sophistication, and really authority throughout the film. And make no mistake, Hannah Blackman was extremely sexually gorgeous on here with her part-length blonde hair, and she had a great figure when we see her in much more of these business suits with these tight top outfits. Very curvaceous, very busty, so she still had the lean athletic shape of other females. A real intelligence and savvy and business-like nature about her, and along with the fact of her iconic status and reference throughout the Bond film franchise, this is why for me I deem Pussy Galore, played by Hannah Blackman, as the most hottest and sexiest Bond girl within all of the entire franchise. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and breakdowns of who I deem were the hottest females within all of the James Bond films. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this breakdown, and as I've said, you can check out more similar breakdowns and lists within this channel. If you have any other ideas of breakdowns similar to this that you would like to see me produce, then let me know in the comments below. If there are any other hot females from any other franchises that you would like to see me cover, then I'll be more than welcome to listen to your suggestions, and if I could agree with them overall, then I'll produce a similar breakdown covering those lists as well. Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.